Okay, we're rolling. And hello, everybody out there. Oh, I should turn down my microphone. I have decided to go ahead and start drinking without everybody else. It's Friday night, right? It's time to drink. Where's my mouse so I can turn myself down a little bit? There we go. All right. So, Wendell, what's going on here? You have a new setup there. That is schnazzy.
I'm blown away. Behind me is Jarvis.
Where's Jarvis?
Yet. He's off. He's kind of chatty.
You've got it turned off over there.
But soon it will be ready.
We haven't really rehearsed anything this week. I've had a hell of a week. My NAS just started to stop working like an hour ago. It's making a very loud noise, and I think it's clogged with dust. I should have cleaned it earlier. So the struggle has been real this week. Should I tell them about the stupid thing I did with my Windows bootloader?
Yeah, we should probably mention that.
Oh, God. Oh, guys, be careful when you're installing Linux. I wanted to install Ubuntu, and then I remember back in my Windows 7 days, I used to use this program called EasyBCD, which is a bootload manager. It doesn't work with UEFI, and I forgot about that because it was 2 in the morning, and I was really tired, and I had it on my hard drive. It's been on my NAS for a long time, so I was like, oh yeah, EasyBCD. I'll just install that. That's a nice handy program. I installed it, rebooted, and it's like Windows is not working, can't start. So I was like, oh shit. Well, all right. Here's what I'll do. I'll go ahead and get my Windows install media. I'll plug that in. I'll run the repair. It'll be fine. That didn't work. So the next thing you know, I'm in the DOS prompt like, fix MBR. Come on, fix. Do stuff and rewrite. I was trying all the stuff. I had forums open. It was awful. I'm live right now.
Yeah, your frame rate's bad.
Is my frame rate's bad?
Yeah, for your camera.
For my camera, my frame rate. Oh, whoa. What's the frame rate on that thing?
I don't know. I didn't mess with it.
It's oh wow, this is, I feel like, oh yeah, we need a strobe light. No, I haven't looked at it. My frame rate's awful, Wendell. So
We're
another
total
thing.
pros.
What's the frame rate on?
Where does it even say?
It should be like the number 50 is what it should be.
Yeah, it says 50.
50? What? Your frame rate looks all right though, Wendell. Move your hands around.
It looks fine in the camera.
Okay, so yeah, I have really, really bad frame rate for me. What on earth?
Thanks, Google.
I don't understand. Thanks, Obama. That doesn't make any sense. Maybe it might be too bright, but
there's an animated GIF of Obama where he's got like milk and cookies, but the cookie's too big for the glass of milk, and you can see him mouthing "Thanks, Obama."
I don't know.
Why is it so bad?
I don't know. I have no idea. Could be the streaming. Very strange. It's been a weird day. The struggle is real, but you know something, Wendell? None of this stuff ever happens on a Macintosh. Nothing bad ever happens on a Macintosh. In fact, it's a proven fact that Macintoshes never crash. And this is the shirt that we're about to come out with to prove it. Right there it is on the screen. Where the hell is my mouse? We should never do it live because the thing that we cut more than anything else is me saying, where the hell is the fucking mouse? There it is. God damn it. That's annoying. There it is. Okay, good. Yes, our new shirts. They'll be out very soon. And currently our shirt of the month is Rant 30, which I might be doing some of today. Who knows? Maybe a few rants in there. I'm just waiting for a few more people to show up before we get really serious. But yeah, the Rant 30 shirts are real. And guys, there is a secret message somewhere in the background here. I'll give someone I keep promising pizzas, so I'll give someone a pizza. If they can figure out what the secret message hidden within the binary is. All right. Shall we just get down to brass tacks? Are brass tacks better than
article list?
Oh, you've lost your article list?
I got it. It's fine.
All right. I'll start off and then you can chime in. Oh, there it is. Audio is off sync with my voice. I don't even know, guys. It's got to be the stream quality or something. Or maybe it's YouTube right now. Weird. Because this is the same settings that we use every week. And if it's off, I don't know. Yeah, this is awkward. The jitteriness. All right, let's just do the news and pretend that everything's fine. Google has started selling auto insurance via their search. They're probably just taking a cut of all the different auto insurance policies out there. But I guess the bigger thing to talk about here is now that Google is selling auto insurance, what's the next step here? What's the thing that Google always does? Well, now they're probably going to start monitoring your driving habits. They're going to try to loosely link a device to you and then use the GPS that's in the device to just see how you drive on different roads. They're like, well, we know that when he's on residential roads, he does about double the speed limit. and we know that when he's when he's on an interstate, he goes 20 over and changes lanes every 6 times. So you're going to get bad rates. Maybe that's what they're going to do. I don't know. What do you think? Think that's a thing that they'll be doing?
No, I really don't think that anything has to do with the other. I think that they're just sort of optimizing search results. So, the reason I think that is because this really isn't a lot different than like when you search for movies that are playing in a theater around you, you get a similar kind of result mechanism. And this car insurance thing is like, oh, people are searching for car insurance. Google knows about car insurance. Let's make that format a certain way so that it makes it easy to compare things. And so I don't know that it necessarily has anything to do with, tracking your position or anything like that. I think it's more just a convenience thing. I think Google wants to be the hub of different kinds of searches. And in order to be that, they need to make the information more easily digestible.
I don't know. I kind of feel like they just might be tempted to harvest some data there. Anyway, your mic looks like it's still really low. There's no way to make it. You're probably gonna have to turn the gain up just a little bit for everybody. Can everyone let us know if you guys can hear Wendell all right?
Okay, I've turned the gain up, but hopefully I haven't also turned the noise floor up because what is happening?
The noise floor is where it's at. All right. Tragic events this week. There's a lot of VR news, but this is the worst VR news. The Microsoft HoloLens engineer, and the HoloLens looked like it was one of the engineers anyway. The HoloLens looked like it was going to be an amazing piece of hardware. Mikey I, he was hit, and there was a hit and run, and they caught the guy, so that is at least good. But didn't turn out so good for him. Kind of a jackass hit and run. That's unbelievable. I guess what's really weird about this is if you look back in time. Police chase. He was hit, and then someone else I was looking on Reddit. They dug back even farther, and they found out that in Japan, one of the guys who made the Virtual Boy, remember that thing? Remember that monstrosity? One of the guys that made the Virtual Boy was killed in a car wreck, or killed by a speeding car, or something like that. So
Illuminati. It's all the Illuminati. It's got to be. I know it. Yeah. I know that it is.
They do not want VR because VR is too close to their matrix that they have running. They know that if the VR gets good enough, we may enslave ourselves, but we're already enslaved. And they're like, well, how's that going to work? It's going to be a computer program running inside a computer program.
Technology really is probably the gilded cage that's prevented the general population from revolting, but that's a conversation for another day.
Let's talk about self-driving cars for just a little bit. So, self-driving cars, they could generate billions in revenue, and that's not just from people buying and selling the cars. They're probably going to hurt car dealerships, and they're probably going to really hurt insurance companies and that sort of thing. But the way that they're going to generate money is through online enterprises. They say that if people just sit in the backseat of the car, and all the different companies that are selling things on the internet, so just a few minutes a day of extra browsing and buying things online could generate $5.6 billion a year in revenue. Yeah. Wait, no. That's more than they say more than that. They say more than $140 billion if they use half of their free time in the car doing some shopping and stuff. But I mean, this is all hearsay at this point. It seems. I'm not sure what kind of studies they've done, but I don't know if people are going to shop anymore just because they're in the backseat of a car. It seems like they're hoping for impulse buying and that sort of thing.
There were studies around law enforcement. So it turns out a lot of law enforcement's operating budget stems from infractions like speeding or running a stop sign and that sort of thing. And with self-driving cars, a lot of that goes away. And so in terms of law enforcement personnel and equipment, that'll be dramatically reduced. And so I don't know, those studies have said, it's going to negatively affect things by billions of dollars. But I think that this article is more accurate in that it's going to displace billions of dollars so that you have, billions of dollars no longer being spent on law enforcement and speeding tickets, and instead it's going to go to some other part of the economy.
Yep. Another news, I guess, with the self-driving cars, they're going to be rolling out into 10 U.S. cities, and they've already been rolled out. Tampa Bay, holy crap. That's in Florida. I figured Florida would be on the bottom of the list when it came to anything technological, seeing as how places like the University of Florida have removed, computer stuff, a lot of computer stuff from the curriculum so that they can add more, I don't know what they even teach in Florida. I'm gonna leave alone the Florida jokes. I almost made a Florida joke.
It's Miami. Oh,
No
Miami's very
Florida
bad.
jokes. Yeah. All right. Let's go ahead and start talking about NSA and that sort of stuff. So, the NSA, some of their programs may be defunded soon, and I mean they're gonna come up for, I guess, different parts of what's the actual thing here? The this is something we would have got. The different parts of the Patriot Act are gonna come up for vote, and they're gonna have to vote to keep these things in power. And here's what's interesting. I bet that a lot of these things are going to be re-ratified and they're going to stay a law and it's going to be okay. But at the same time, one of the big things that's on the chopping block right now is the whole, wiretapping thing. It hasn't done anything. They haven't caught one terrorist with it so far. But I wonder if they're going to be talking about that when they get, into the House and the Senate. Are they going to even mention that, so you didn't catch anybody, or is anyone going to bring that up? I just wonder who's going to bring it. Probably Elizabeth Warren, and that's about it. I mean, maybe her and Bernie Sanders, and what's the guy from Oregon? They'll probably talk about it a little bit, but everyone else is just going to be like, yeah, we need these things. We've spent billions of dollars and haven't caught any terrorists with the the phone tapping, but we've got to have them. Very important, very very important. I don't know.
It's this kind of thing makes me increasingly frustrated because the people that are actually running the thing are so disconnected from all the rest of the citizenry. I mean, there's no need for this apparatus to be here. It can only be abused. We've said it hundreds of times before, and this thing has always been renewed. Like when the Snowden leaks first happened, it was going to be due for renewal, and they renewed it. And it's like, well, if it was renewed then, it's going to be renewed now. It's a given.
It's about time for Rant 30. You guys stay right there. You'll see a little hitch in the stream. I'm going to up the frame rate because we want to have a little bit of fun with that, and it's important. But yeah, we'll go ahead and get the Republican from Tennessee here, the representative from Tennessee, here on the screen, and then just give me 1 second. Be right back in about 2 seconds. Yeah, that's about it. Yeah, and we're back. Hey, I think it's working now. Oh, look at my hands are moving normally. So, now that we're back.
Are they? We don't know because YouTube's got like a 30-second latency because YouTube sucks. Thanks, Google.
Yeah, I know. Everyone's like, why aren't you using Twitch? And I'm like, well, YouTube has, less of a latency than Twitch even a lot of times. So, all right, you guys ready? It's not over. Everyone's waiting. Okay, you guys ready for some Rant 30? I think we are ready for Rant 30. All right, Wendell, is it about that time? What do you think? Have you seen the time?
It's so dark in here, I can't actually see my watch. Let's just assume it's Rant 30.
We will assume that it is Rant 30. So here is the new thing that the Republicans are doing thanks to Title II and the reclassification and all that sort of thing. They've got the Internet Freedom Act. I love that name, the Internet Freedom Act. That sounds amazing.
George Orwell couldn't have come up with a better name than that.
It's like it's almost like saying the Freedom from Prison Act, which actually puts everyone in prison. It's like, what?
If we follow Orwell's translation guide, that's actually the Internet Slavery Act.
Exactly. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at the Internet Slavery Act, sponsored by Marsha Blackburn, the Republican from Tennessee. Yeah. Yeah. First off, let's just hover over this and see who she's in the pocket of. Well, she's been getting lots and lots of money from Comcast. How about that? $20,000 from a Comcast pack. I'm going to be talking in this sweet Tennessee accent for y'all. She received $25,000 from AT&T, and she received $20,000 from Comcast, and then $20,000 from a cable industry associated pack, and $15,000 from Verizon. All right, that's enough of that crap.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah, that's a lot of money from all those different people. And let's also talk about this. This is Tennessee. You remember Chattanooga was the place that's been in every news story all over the country. People are being like, why is life so good in Chattanooga? What's going on in Chattanooga? Have you guys heard? Business is booming in Chattanooga. Well, that's because there's municipal fiber there. They rolled out gigabit broadband to all the citizenry in the downtown area. And all of a sudden, all the warehouses and shops and things like that started turning into pubs and coffee shops and IT firms. And upstairs, there was like a guy sleeping writing code all day. And then, they're like doing some cool things. All the kids and all the relaxed and groovy people are moving there and they're setting up shop and they're investing and money is flowing. And then all of a sudden, Comcast and a number of other companies came in and like threw a bunch of money idiot politician's mic, Marsha Blackburn. And then she comes up with the Internet Freedom Act. So this is in response to things on a national level. And I want to read here a bit of this. Where's the piece of it? Okay, so the FCC's rules, basically the FCC's rules shall not be enforced or affect. The Commission may not reissue such a rule in substantially the same form or issue a new rule that is substantially the same as such rule unless the reissued or new rule is specifically authorized by law enacted after the date of the enactment of this act. What the hell kind of sentence structure is that? I don't even know. But basically it's saying that, all right, listen, the FCC, they did their little thing. They had their little fun. That's all they get. They can have that. That's it. We're going to make a law that says that they can't actually do anything. And if they do anything, it doesn't count unless we decide to make it a law. So they're basically taking away all the power from the FCC. That's what this Internet Freedom Act is going to be. I think they're going to find a lot of support for this from the Republicans in both the Senate and the Congress. They already have 31 Republican sponsors for this. 31 paid-off pieces of shit are behind this right now. That's unbelievable. Craziness right there. I don't know. You got anything to chime in on this? You've been looking at it?
Yeah, okay, so we've been over all that before. This is a really bad situation. Most of Tennessee actually does have, like, the internet is really terrible. But there's Chattanooga, and Chattanooga has gigabit internet, which is just like Google's gigabit fiber. And there is no reason that municipalities can't do their own internet. Look, the real problem here is the last mile. It's the bundling. It's the way that this stuff works at the network level. If the last mile, like let's say that you live in a town, let's call it Town X. Let's say that Town X has their own infrastructure. If Comcast and Verizon and Time Warner don't have to lay infrastructure in that town, if they have to compete with one another to offer services on that infrastructure, then consumers will win. And that is what these companies fear, and this legislation is designed to prevent that. The insidious thing, like, we just step back, and it has nothing to do with this. It's actually related to our next couple of stories. Comcast has been caught red-handed blocking HBO Go. They've been blocking it on PlayStation, and they've been blocking it on Roku. Now, think about that for a second. Comcast already has technology in place to deeply inspect your unencrypted internet traffic to the point that they can say, HBO Go, yes, okay, that's not allowed on a PlayStation. That is allowed on an iPad. That's not allowed on a Roku. And the reason that we know that they've been caught red-handed is because Roku filed a complaint with the FCC. And this is before the net neutrality ruling went in. And then all of a sudden, Roku's worked. But Sony is like still working with Comcast. And so if you have this problem, on your PlayStation and you call Comcast support, they say that, oh, this is a business issue between Comcast and Sony. This, like, they literally, if it was like a fox and hen house situation, the fox has been caught in the hen house with chicken feathers in its teeth, and there's blood everywhere. And it's like, what? I didn't eat the chicken. It's fine. We need these laws from these Republicans to be able to do this, because we'll be good. We promise. Honest, we're not eating chickens. It's fine.
It's a business decision. That's the problem here. Is it's a business decision. And the funny thing is, and to put this into perspective, is back months and months ago, before Title II and all that stuff, it was funny if you called Comcast and you're like, hey, got a PlayStation, HBO Go is not working. And by the way, the HBO has changed the name of it. It's now HBO Now. HBO Go was something that made you had to sign in using your Comcast or Verizon, or you had to sign in using one of those accounts. HBO Now is the free thing. It's everywhere. It's $15 a month. And that's also being blocked. But the thing now is like, well, the thing then was when you called Comcast and you're like, hey man, HBO's not working on my PlayStation. They're like, oh yeah, it's everything's just congested and clogged, and they don't have enough ports and all this stuff. They always made it a technical issue, but now that the fact that it's funny that when you call them, their story has completely changed. It's no longer a technical issue. It's like, yeah, they haven't paid for licensing, and we're working with Sony, but things, and it's weird, and we're going to discriminate against that kind of traffic because it's bad for us because we want people to buy HBO from us and that sort of thing.
Here's the awesome thing. If you think about it, Think about it from the cable company's point of view. Think about it from Comcast's point of view. Comcast's bread and butter is not internet service. The internet service was just something that they could tack on their existing infrastructure that honestly the executives at the time probably didn't think was going to go anywhere. And so right now, Comcast makes all their money off of television, not internet. And here we have a situation where HBO, which is a premium channel that you have to pay extra per month for, is available on the internet. That completely cuts Comcast out of the loop. If you've got an internet connection, then you can get HBO. And that wasn't always true because HBO was very careful to, screen people and make sure that they had a legitimate cable account. But that's no longer the case. HBO is going to do direct sales to consumers. And that is the oh no that Comcast is coming to realize, because overnight their margin, their business, the cable industry, it's all gone. And so they're doing everything they can to undermine so they can maintain that business model because they own both things. This is not a good situation for consumers.
Yeah, it is really awkward when they own both, when they own too many things. They own the infrastructure, they own the media companies, they own the production companies. It's just, it doesn't make any sense. It creates way too many conflicts of interest and all that. So anyway, that's probably gone on about that enough. Let's move on and I'm going to quick mention this WordPress article here because this is pretty cool. WordPress has won $25,000 from a DMCA takedown abuser. I believe the guy who had the blog was Hoffman. Oliver Hoffman and Steiner, I believe is his name. Yes, Steiner. This guy named Steiner kept taking down his posts using the DMCA takedown notice because he didn't like what he was saying. He was abusing the system to basically remove things from the internet. And a lot of people have been doing that. They've been abusing the system like, we don't want people to say things about us, or someone says that, like this guy is a bad person because of this reason. They put a takedown notice on it and just get it removed from the internet. Well, WordPress wasn't having it anymore. They went to court and they won $25,000. So that's not a large sum of money or anything like that, but it does set a precedent. And I think a lot of the other people who abuse the takedown notice are going to look at this and be like, whoa, that could be dangerous to abuse the system. So hopefully that'll be a move in the right direction there.
It was entirely lawyers' fees, though. It was like $600 that was not lawyers' fees, and then the entire rest of everything else, lawyers' fees. So that's kind of scary that somebody that's just annoying you with takedown notices can incur $25,000 of lawyer fees.
Yeah, that's the way it works, though, in this day and age. All right. Have you got your watch on? Is it bright enough yet? Was it rant 30 earlier, or is it rant 30 now?
It's rant 30 again. We've gone all the way around the clock. It's a circle, as it turns out, and now it's rant 30 again.
It is. It's rant 30. Oh, there it is. There's our new T-shirt. It's on the screen right now. So Apple, remember, how Apple had that whole encryption thing going on here in the States, where they were like, we have the super encryption and the government can't have the key, and we can't give them the key because we don't even have the key. So you know what, government, all your spying and snooping, it's not going to happen on our devices. Remember that whole thing that went down, right? And then the government's like, hey, turn over the encryption keys. You better turn them over because we have to have all encryption keys. When Apple's like, sorry, we don't even have them, man. There's nothing you can do about it. We're from California. I don't know where that came from. Well, you remember all that, right, Wendell? Have you seen what they did next? In China, they turned over everything. And this is even funnier because China recently came out and said, you know what? We decided that we want all the source code and all the encryption keys for everything that's happening in China. We need to know everything that's going on around here. And Obama, there he is holding his iPad, was like, no, bad China. It's bad. You shouldn't do that. It's awful. And Apple was like, okay, yeah, we'll do it. Here you go. Here's all the information you wanted. Here's the encryption keys, and we'll work with you, whatever we need. We love you guys. You guys are awesome, and just keep letting us hire children, and everything will be fine. I think that's pretty much the
That is kind of disappointing that Apple's like, encryption for everyone, and China's like, no, and Apple's like, that sounds good to us, whatever.
But that's not what they said in America. They were like, you can't even. They're like, you can't even get the encryption because we don't have the keys. But they just turned them over to China. So what? Now is the USA gonna come back and be like, hey, you gave that stuff to China. We want it too, and China shouldn't have it because China's bad. They look funny over there, and the only thing that's allowed to happen is people that speak like this with English accents. Other than that, everything else is bad. That's what's going to happen. Well, Obama doesn't have an English accent, but in a perfect world, all the leadership would have English accents, British accents. It's bad, and you know it is bad, so give it to us immediately. Oh, Wendell, the struggle. The struggle is real.
We'll get our new T-shirt.
Yep, there it is. Oh, it's going to be coming out soon. Oh, by the way, thanks to WhiskeyRanger. I'm not even sure if he's been on the new website yet, but thanks very much to WhiskeyRanger. He's the one who did the artwork for this, and he did the artwork for a lot of the NSA stuff. I don't know who did the artwork for this shirt I'm wearing right now, but it's pretty snazzy too. You should go over to Kyle's shop and buy it. This one right here. Go buy it from Kyle. This is a sauce bottle, and Kyle's is the Awesome Sauce Network. I think they sell sauce or something like that in Los Angeles. Door-to-door sauce. That sounds like the wrong kind of company. Anyway, let's move right along then. What's up? Brazilian company launches the unstoppable smartphone or untappable smartphone. This is in response to all the surveillance, of course. I don't really want to go into this too awful much because I haven't seen one of these phones, and all the ones we've seen so far have been a little rough around the edges. This one is just worth a mention. It's called the Granite phone, and it'll be available in Brazil, Chile, Colombia, Mexico, the Middle East, and the U.S., and it's going to be $800. I'm not sure about the specs here. The specs listed. There we go. Yeah, you've got a Snapdragon 800, 2.26 gigahertz, 4.9-inch screen, 8 megapixel rear camera, 1.3 megapixel front camera, 16 gigabytes of internal storage, and 2 gigabytes of RAM. I do not think that the specs are nearly good enough to justify the price tag. Maybe if the security is rock solid and that's what you need and want and all that sort of thing, maybe.
Well, you know, the black phone, see, this has been done already, and that was with the black phone.
Yeah, the black phone, yeah.
But there were a couple embarrassing things on the security track record of the black phone. So, to me, if the people that are in the market for this kind of a phone, they need an independent audit in order to take it seriously. And I don't know that we have that yet. And if we get an independent audit that confirms that it is good, it's well architected, and it's secure, maybe it's worth the price tag. Otherwise, it's just a glorified Android phone.
I guess we're kind of starting into the hardware stuff. We've got a lot of hardware stuff to talk about and also a lot of gaming stuff to talk about. At GDC, I can't even believe I totally forgot about GDC. I kind of wanted to go out there to GDC mainly because it's in San Francisco and there's some big trees there. I like those big trees.
And the developers are our peeps.
Yeah, they are. What's up, our peeps developers? Peeps. All I can think about are those little marshmallow candy things whenever anybody says that. I'm like, I don't want to be anybody's peep. Doesn't sound good at all. Where was I? Oh, yes. The Titan X is where I was. The Z was not the final. The X may be the final, though. Out of nowhere, the Titan X shows up. They're going backwards now.
It's gone all the way around the alphabet, and it's back to Z, or it's back to X because reasons.
It's that epic? I don't even know. So there it is. It's a 12 gigabyte frame buffer. Is going to be pretty epic.
Is it really 12 gigs? I thought it was 11.5.
No, 8. Oh yes, the 11.5 gigabyte frame buffer that's going to be on the Titan the Q or something.
Titan X Lite edition, Titan X Noobs edition,
Titan XTC. That's the never mind. That's the version you use for
the only thing I can come up with is Titan AE, which is not even a thing.
Anyway, 8 billion transistor, 12 gigabyte frame buffer, and took thousands of engineer years to build. Really? I think what they're doing for that number is they're adding together all of the engineering time that they've used on all of their different products, possibly in this generation and the generation before it. I think that's how they came up with that number. But it does sound epic when you say frame buffer and the 12 gigabyte frame buffer, and it took thousands of years of engineer years to build. What is an engineer year? Is that different than a human year? Oh, 1,000 engineer years. Well, 4 human years are equivalent to about 7 engineer years because they're so much faster. They get about 7 years worth of stuff done in 4. So yeah, still a lot, when you think about it.
They also said it was 90 frames per second, but is that 4K? They didn't really say.
Well, 90 frames per second in what? That's from some new Oculus, A Thief in the Shadows, that's running on the Oculus Crescent Bay. And we're going to talk about the Crescent Bay a little bit more in just a minute because the new Steam VR is out, and it seems like the bottom line on the Crescent Bay is that the Steam VR is better than everything. Interesting enough. John Carmack, you're working for the wrong company. John Carmack, go work for Steam, would you?
Gabe.
Please. What?
Carmack's got to work for Gabe. The universe just isn't right unless Carmack is working for Gabe.
I know. Carmack, why are you at Facebook? Go and get John Romero and let him yell and scream and run around and shake the walls. And then you can sit in a back room and eat pizza all day, Diet Coke, whatever you want. And then Gabe can wander around and be like, hey, everything's good, right? Yeah, it's awesome. Of course it is. We're Valve. Yeah, it's great. And then, and maybe that's what, I've got the perfect position for John Romero. What do you think of this, Wendell? John Romero should be hired by Valve, and his official position at Valve is to run around and demand Half-Life 3. He just runs around like, where the hell is it, man? Whoa, what the fuck's going on? Where's Half-Life 3? Come on, man. Let's get it going on. Got to get some Half-Life 3 deathmatch up in this bitch. Let's go. That would be his ultimate job.
Speaking of deathmatch, the Unreal Tournament 4 server is live.
We have an Unreal Tournament 4 server? We have one?
We do. Yep.
Really?
Yep.
Ooh, I just installed that.
All you got to do is sign into the sidebar, and when you sign in on the website, it shows you where it is on the sidebar.
Oh, on the main page of the website.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. All right, so the Titan X is the thing. Google is trying to do error correcting in quantum computing because apparently quantum computing produces way more errors, and the biggest problem right now is fixing the error correction. And right now, here's what's interesting. They've got some error correction going on that's fixing about 1% of the problems. So they're actually working on it. They're making some steps toward it. But the biggest thing that's probably going to be needed for a true quantum coprocessor or a quantum computer is error correction. So I don't think that we really even talked about this ever before about quantum computing. It is sort of the next thing, but just from the nature of it, it generates tons of errors. And the other thing that's interesting is you have to be able to correct the errors while at the same time also not disrupting the quantum state of things. Because, if you've got something that's watching, quantum things, everything works a little differently. So you have to kind of I'm not watching it. You do whatever you want. I'm not looking. Yeah, I'm not looking. It's magic that way, guys. So they have to have something that's small enough that it does not disturb the quantum phenomenon that's happening. And Google's actually working on that.
Well, I think this is related to Google's buyout of the quantum computing company we talked about a couple of years ago.
Oh, the one up in Canada. What are they called?
D-Wave?
Something. D-Wave. Yes, D-Wave. Quantum computer. Yep.
And so this is actually groundbreaking because it's demonstrating D-Wave's technology, but in a practical delivery platform. And so we have a traditional silicon chip integrated circuit, stuff like we've been used to seeing. And then we've got the quantum qubits actually on the silicon working, proven that it's good. And so we're still probably 5 years off, but this proof of concept is sort of a milestone, and it's one worth a look.
I'm trying to flag someone as spam here, but that's the thing about going live is you got idiots in there spamming stuff. Anyway, let's go on. We got more NVIDIA news. So the new NVIDIA Shield is actually a gaming console. Looks pretty cool, actually. They say it's capable of 4K out of the box. They didn't say what frame rates, but it looks like it's going to have a 960 under the hood. But it's going to be running on a Tegra X1 chip, so it's an ARM with a 960. I like the fact that they're mixing and matching the ARM processor with a nice, powerful graphics card like that. That should be capable of doing quite a bit. 3 gigabytes of RAM in the Shield, and that's pretty nice. I mean, the 360 is 512. That's crazy.
I'm going to be the troll, and I have to say that I think this is going to be dead on arrival. And the reason I think that is because I think that NVIDIA is overplaying their position in the market right now because they're selling more graphics cards. It shouldn't be, but they are. But I think that it's a fatal mistake that they went with ARM instead of x86 because that much GPU horsepower would be much better paired with x86. I think that Intel's in a good position to be able to deliver a cheap, like the new Atoms. I mean, even if they don't want Haswell or Broadwell or something beyond that, I think Intel with the Atoms is in a good position to deliver cheap x86 performance, and that would let them do some really cool stuff.
You know, that's probably true. There's probably going to be a bottleneck there. The interesting thing is a lot of the new APIs that are coming out. I'm talking about the Vulkan API, and we'll get to that more in just a minute. But the Vulkan API may make a lot of the CPU overhead go away, and it may also make the whole bottlenecking thing kind of irrelevant. So I'm not sure if that would really apply to this, because a lot of the games, at least now, maybe in a couple of years when more games are working with Vulkan and DirectX 12 and other types of other different APIs, maybe it'll be different, but not just yet. Anyway, let's move along here. Ooh, the new NUC. I can't believe I just did that. I should go jump off. I'm going to jump off a bridge, but after we're done here. This is important. I can jump off a bridge later. So,
see, that was totally like, Three Stooges, but it's not Three Stooges. It's actually more like Slender Man, where if you say NUC 3 times in a row, staring in a mirror or something, then I don't know. John Moore appears and stabs you or something. I don't know.
Slender Man. I still love Will Ferrell's quote where he said, if Slender Man is the scariest game in America right now, there's some really serious problems going on. Slender Man. He's not very scary if you go to Norway. Everyone's already slender there. You get the joke, you idiots. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to call you idiots. I love you guys, maybe.
But the NUC looks awesome, but it's tiny.
Oh, the thing that's awesome about this is the fact that you can swap out the CPU. I thought Intel was done with, that was my Linus voice almost. I thought Intel was done. High register right there. I thought they were finished with
If people wanted Linus, they'd be watching the live stream.
Oh, is he live streaming? How about that?
Apparently. The one guy we had to ban was like, "Did you know Linus is streaming?" And it's like, I don't even care. Why is this a thing? Why is this a thing?
Thanks to everyone in the comments for telling us 4,000 times that Linus is streaming right now. It's awesome. We're so glad that you're so helpful. Shut your mouths. All right. I'm so befuddled right now. I didn't think that Intel was going to make any more, socket CPU type things. And right here it is. It's Broadwell. You can swap out the CPU in the NUC. I'd like to get my knuckles on that NUC. NUC, what I mean? Never mind. I've stretched it too far. It's over. Can't happen anymore.
I am kind of surprised it's only got one DisplayPort connection though.
I mean, is that I didn't look at the back. I already closed the article. But is that all it has? Just one DisplayPort, no other HDMI or anything like that? I mean, I guess you can daisy chain.
Well, you can daisy chain, but you can't daisy chain DisplayPort with 4K. And I guess you wouldn't be running 4K off a NUC, but I mean,
yeah,
still.
That would be kind of. I mean, you could daisy chain like 3 or 4 1080p with 1080p at 60. Is you can do 3 of them, I think. Is that right? I don't remember. Maybe 4. It's got a lot of bandwidth. Are we already into the science section? I believe we might be. What is all this? Yeah. Just a couple of science articles. One science article. So some researchers have created a simulated mouse with a virtual brain, and this is kind of interesting. They're working on the human brain project, and they're starting small, of course, and they're trying to simulate, the virtual brains. But I put this very close to all of our video game articles, and we do have a few today, for a specific purpose, because I like to talk and dream about video games because. Science and all that stuff is fun, but it's not as fun as video games sometimes. And it would be really cool if we could have that kind of AI, the kind of stuff that they're developing for the simulated mouse. If we could have that in our games, that would be amazing. So, dude, why don't you make an API, like the Havoc for physics, but make it like the Sarah. I don't know what's. I need some kind of a catchy phrase. We need like maybe something that has alliteration, like the capital cerebellum. That's awful. How about the that's it. The Cortex code or something like that. Yeah. So make an API called Code Cortex. There it is. We've decided on Code Cortex, and then release the API so that people could at least give the characters in Skyrim a mouse brain, because a mouse brain would be so much better than those idiots who walk around saying the same thing over and over and over again. And then, yeah. But anyway, it is kind of exciting because they say that essentially with this technology, they'll be able to map several different animals. And, yeah, mouse brain only has 200,000 neurons, so it'll be a bit before they can map anything more complicated than that. But still interesting.
I think you're onto something with the video game thing, because this reminds me of, because they're doing the simulation, basically. They're simulating the brain and the musculature control body interface thing. There's a really good video on Vimeo that was a system that was learning how to walk. And so it was an artificial intelligence approach, and they would vary the structure of the thing, but basically it would teach itself how to walk. And you could Google that. It's flexible muscle-based locomotion. And they did a bunch of simulations and basically let the thing learn how to walk its most efficient way. And that type of thing for video game AI really would be a breakthrough. And that would be a great use of multi-core, like when we're entering, 8, 12, 16 core machines. That type of AI would be great.
Just blocking some
idiots. It would be really challenging.
There we go. Block some people. That feels so much better. And let me know in the chat if it feels better without these fucking idiots. Yes. All right, got rid of a few people. That's wonderful. I think we're into the gaming already. Yeah, we are. We're already into the gaming segment. This is a trailer I brought up just because I wish I'd made this game. We're thinking about making a Zweihander game, but that's kind of secret, guys. But someone.
So we'll just tell everyone on the entire internet.
Just tell everybody. It's not really a secret, but because I want some feedback from everybody else. See, I was thinking about making a game that was kind of like this one, and then I started talking about, hey, this would be a great game, and someone's like, oh yeah, there's already a game like it. It's called Death's Gambit. It's essentially a very brutal side-scrolling. It's really pretty. This game's pretty. Some people say it's like a 2D version of Dark Souls, but I don't know. I don't know about that, but it's I think it looks even more interesting than Dark Souls. But
it looks really cool.
So, now we got to go back to the drawing board, because it's like everything's derivative. You know what I mean? It's like people are like, hey, what do you want to make? Make a dungeon crawler, make a side scroller, make a puzzle platformer. Oh God, no, not a puzzle platformer.
If everything's derivative, you just need to integrate.
Yeah, it's like there's got to be something that hasn't been done yet, but I can't think of anything. I was splitting my brain trying to think of something unique or some hook that hasn't been done before, and I would mention something, and they'd be like, dude, that was done 20 years ago in Metroid. I'm like, oh yeah, you're right. I don't know.
Hey, remaking Metroid, there's good money in that. I mean, look, Nintendo wouldn't be where they are if they weren't really good at remaking things that work.
Yeah, I know. Well, I mean, speaking of Metroid, you've got like 10 or 12 Metroidvania-style games coming out next year for all different platforms. So next year is going to be pretty good for Metroidvania-style games. And that's another thing. All right, anyway. Microsoft at GDC has outlined their plans to bridge Xbox and PC gaming. So they didn't really go into the whole, this is going to be wonderful. And I also want to point out some of the things here that they're talking about, because it's almost like they're saying the exact opposite of what they were saying several years ago. And they're saying things like, we know there are billions of people that play games across all devices. Today, the world is segmented. You don't have a linkage really between the places that your customers are playing your games. Well, yeah, you know what? You guys are largely responsible for all the segmentation that's been going on, especially in the PC world, because you brought out games for Windows Live, and you brought out that one really crappy Shadowrun game that shall never be remembered, hopefully, in the history books. But you brought out that one really crappy game that was like, you can play the PC versus Xbox, and the PC players destroyed the Xbox players. It was a flop. It was a bad game, and nobody liked it. And so after that, you were like, oh, let's not do that anymore. And then you proceeded to buy companies that were making really interesting PC games and saying like, hey, we're going to give you several $1 million, but your game is going to only be on the Xbox because our other platform, that's also our platform because we're Microsoft, yeah, we don't want people to game on that. That's a tax box. We want people to do their taxes and use Outlook and Microsoft products on that one. We want you to game on this thing that goes in your living room. It costs a lot of money. It overheats. It's shitty. It doesn't have any power. And it's got a controller with no buttons, and it's for mongoloids, and we want you to game on that. And that's what they've been preaching.
It's true.
That's what they've been preaching forever. And then All of a sudden now they're like, oh, PC gaming is a thing. Oh my God, Konami made more money on PC than they did on the consoles, and they barely even support PC. Oh my God, we got to take care of PC. That's our real audience. And so what they're going to do, I feel like even still is kind of half-assed. Their big plan right now is to, are we locked up or whatever? It looks like I'm locked up. Oh, my camera's locked up. Well, whatever. We'll keep me on the screen. My battery died. All right, we're keeping the screen up like this. So the big thing that they're going to do right now is they want to allow you to stream Xbox games to your PC, and they're even going to be nice enough to give you an adapter so you can use your wireless Xbox controller. But you got to buy the adapter, of course, obviously. It's a thing. You got to buy it for a lot of money for a premium. But yeah, how swell is that, Wendell? That's the main thing that they're pointing. It's like, now you can stream to any of your PCs the amazing Xbox experience. Xbox gaming on your PC. Whoa! I'm turning into a 90s commercial. Ooze Blast Oozinator. Come and get your sneakers, kids. The new tank that won't flip upside down.
No, what you need to do in that voice is, it's like, Microsoft Mail, the new online service where you can send electronic messages through your game console. Yes, that's right. No longer messing with stamps or anything like that. You can just send a message to your friends through your game console. This revolutionary technology only from Microsoft. It's like, oh, God.
Oh, God.
Oh.
All right. What's next on the list here? We're talking about Valve's VR stuff. ER, VR.
Do you have a spare battery for your camera? We could take a pit stop. I could juggle or something while you change the batteries.
Do you have any cats? We could juggle cats. I like this screenshot of me. I look like I'm like angry and yelling, and it's awful. I just messaged
turns out
someone.
I can't juggle either.
Huh? They should be over here in this thing. All right, Pistol's gonna swap the battery live.
In this green thing?
Yeah, they're in. I think they're there. I don't know where they are.
Why did you put them where they're
I didn't. It wasn't me that put them anywhere. It was other people's fault.
Yeah, not your fault, right?
No, seriously, I had them. I don't even know where they are.
I don't know where they are.
They should be on the charger, but they're not on the charger.
It turns out.
No, there should be a charger plugged in there, but it's not there.
Knight to Bishop 7. Check.
All our batteries are gone. Are you serious? All our batteries are gone?
I don't see any in there.
Holy shit, all our batteries are gone.
No.
We're out of batteries. We're like,
Nothing over here.
so yeah, we got back from all the events and there's like no batteries anywhere, apparently. There was one plugged in right there. There was one plugged in right there like 2 days ago.
Well, there's nothing plugged in.
All right, let's just keep going. Valve's VR experience. Gabe Newell promises that 0% of people are going to feel sick with his VR device. So that's a claim floating around, and so far, no one else is. Yeah, so far it's been. I mean, we can't substantiate those things, so we haven't played with it.
We got to, though. It is interesting that all these companies sort of came out and started doing their own. They're all in VR. Like suddenly we went from no VR technology to all this different competing VR technology. But you know what else will happen with the Game Developer Con? It's the whole game engine. So we've got Unreal Engine, the Unity engine, and the other one.
Vulkan.
Vulkan.
Oh, no,
that one's from Valve.
Not Vulkan. Vulkan is an API. You're talking about the Unity,
Vulkan's the driver that goes with that.
Right. We'll talk about that in just a second. Yeah. Vulkan is the driver. That looks really interesting.
Source 2. Yeah. Okay, so Source 2, which is Valve, and Valve's also doing this crazy stuff with video drivers with Vulkan. We're going to talk about that in a minute. So we got Source 2, fully, good to go, free. Unreal Tournament 4, the Unreal Engine 4, and Unity 3. All of those are free now for developers. They basically settle up when you're successful. So if you want to be a game developer,
we'll take a cut.
Those are, that's great if you're a game developer. You can start downloading today and mess with those engines, and that is awesome. And the Unreal Engine 4 just came out, and we got the Unreal server up and going. So
I need to grab some of those maps. We had some really awesome maps that we were playing out at PDX Land from some of the guys. I need to contact them and be like, hey man, give me all those Unreal, UT4 maps. So, we've almost got the damned camera back on. I guess that's what happens when you use it. There was a generic battery, a non-Panasonic battery was in there.
That one's dead.
We got a whole box of dead batteries here. Want another dead battery?
Can't swing a dead cat without finding a dead battery.
All right, so as you mentioned, the Source 2 is completely free. And let's go ahead and talk about Vulkan now while she's swapping the battery. It's going to be like the battery's going to be replaced, and then it's going to be like, all right, see you guys later. This is why we don't do things live. That's fine. Just do it. Hey.
We're so pro.
Yeah. Well, we're usually in a hurry because we got stuff to do. As long as it doesn't fall, it's fine. Other way, it's a super white. All right, hey, that looks awful.
Now it's got one bar again.
Well, it's weird. It looks really bad.
It's because it doesn't have this.
Oh, where's that thing at?
If that's itself.
This is awesome. Live. God, this is why we don't do things live. All right.
I can tell them about Vulkan while you guys are fiddling with that if you want.
Go ahead and tell them about Vulkan, yeah.
Okay, so Valve, this is really interesting. Valve's got a problem, and that is they've got NVIDIA on one side and AMD on the other, and their interests are not necessarily super aligned with Valve. And Valve is sort of the odd man out now, too, because they don't really like Windows 8 and Windows 10 and what Microsoft was doing with the whole games for Windows and the Xbox situation, because PC gaming on Valve, multi-billion-dollar company, this is what Valve is all about. So, what do? Well, they have developed a driver for the Intel Haswell, this sort of DirectX 12, and it's Mantle compatible. It's called Vulkan, Vulkan. And Vulkan is designed so that the open source community can look at the source and look at how Valve is doing things on Linux, and then immediately take and adapt that. Now, this is really good because it solves Valve's problem potentially, because they've signed IP rights agreements and confidentiality agreements and things like that with NVIDIA and AMD through their work on other platforms. But now, if open source developers who have not signed those non-disclosure agreements can actually get into a situation where they're looking at Vulkan, they're looking at a really well architected, really well, super awesome driver, but then apply that to other hardware, that's going to be a really good situation for the open source, which we don't really have really awesome versions of, video drivers for the AMD and NVIDIA graphics cards. So even though this driver is written for Intel graphics, a year from now or 2 years from now, this is going to have a huge impact on the quality and the availability of good drivers for Linux that are open source.
I think it's a lot bigger than that because Valve is mainly working on the Vulkan GPU driver just for Linux, but it's more than that. It seems to be very similar to Mantle, and in fact, this may end up becoming the new Mantle right now. The Vulkan, it may end up being, because it's actually borrowing. So they say it's borrowing quite a bit of code from Mantle, very low level access to the hardware, and it also really cuts down on the CPU overhead because it handles the task management there. It handles the task management on the GPU. So whereas before you had the CPU that was in charge of task management and it would send things to the GPU, now that that's being handled on the GPU, you no longer have the bottleneck of the CPU. So you'll just be getting pure GPU horsepower. Another thing, cross-platform, Linux, Windows, OS 10, whatever you want. It's not just DirectX. It's not made by the same company that makes the OS, so it'll be working in a lot of different places. And then the other thing that's interesting, it sees everything as a system, and that's something that we're going to see with DirectX 12 and possibly the newer versions of Mantle. But like I said, I think this is going to be replacing Mantle, hopefully, and then AMD will work with them and to make this Vulkan better. But go ahead.
There's another dimension of this that's interesting. So contrast this awesome that we just talked about with NVIDIA, who also recently opened up PhysX. And so PhysX is open source, but it's not really. They've open sourced only the CPU portion of PhysX. The GPU part is still proprietary. So AMD could take that, and we could actually see a version of PhysX running on AMD cards. But the part that runs on the GPU will have to be written by AMD. But the part that runs on the CPU is now open. And so you compare that with what Valve has done, which is actually give away something immediately useful. It's a really interesting contrast.
Mm-hmm. And the other thing I like about this is that it sees your entire computer as one system. So if you have multiple GPUs and a CPU and some RAM and all that stuff, it just sees that as a big pool of resources. So you're not going to run into the weird problems where you have, SLI problems where, you know, you can only use the RAM from one graphics card. It's going to be like DirectX 12. If you have multiple GPUs, you should, in theory, be able to use all of that RAM. Maybe one GPU will take care of the textures and the I don't know, just that sort of thing, and then the second GPU will take care of the particle effects and the lighting effects and that sort of thing, and that'll all be stored in that one. So you're not doubling up the frame buffers anymore. Very very modern stuff here. I kind of enjoy this. So yeah, Vulkan looks really promising. I think that's pretty much it. Kind of fumbled around there at the end because of the battery issue, but otherwise, yeah.
If the chat wasn't just a horrible swill of nastiness, maybe we could take a question.
We could probably take a couple of questions. I think the thing about the chat is we have like 90% of our viewers are amazing, and then 10% are from another channel, and they're just here to harass us. You know,
a bunch of them are on Mumble, so I might try to join Mumble in a second.
Just hop on. We should be taking them. Yeah, we should, 2 questions, just 2. Yeah, there we go. Let's see what we got here.
No, I really think, like, in terms of like the news this week, I really think if you're a game developer, like, it should just be party time. Like, all the game developers aren't even tuning in right now because they're just, you know, drunk, passed out on the floor, drunk with code. I don't know what they've been up for 40 hours straight coding. I don't know, something.
I don't see any real questions here. Who is your favorite drummer with a lot of exclamation points? That's not a question, but I guess what's his name from Trauma from Poland? I forgot his name though. What are you most looking forward to in DirectX 12? Looking forward to being able to use multiple GPUs all as one GPU. So Australia, no, that's my answer. This is the Rocat
What about
Tyon.
Australia?
No. That was a question, just Australia question mark? No, was the answer.
Alton Brown. The answer to Australia is Alton Brown.
Yes, that's correct for 22 points.
I'm sorry, what is Alton Brown? That's correct for 22 points, but you forgot to phrase your answer in the form of a question.
Oh. Flight stick reviews? Go buy them all. I don't know. I don't see anything. What sort of... I don't know. I can't answer some of these questions, and they're going too fast, so yeah.
It's
Speculations on the 390X. I can't wait to get my hands on a 390X. That's my speculation. Let's see here.
390X should be amazing.
Keyboard is this? K65. K65.
Would you guys freak out if I built a G-Sync monitor?
Yeah. Would you guys like to see a G-Sync monitor built by Wendell? The answer is in the comments. I think we're done for now, Wendell. What do you think? Pretty much it? Any more good ones?
I don't really see anything, sadly.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you very much for.
Oh, we should plug the other
for
channels because there's content on them now.
We do have content on them. Okay, I'll let you go ahead and hop in with that.
Okay, so on the hardware channel, we just posted the ASRock X99 workstation motherboard. This is a motherboard with 10 gigabit Ethernet. So 10 gigabit Ethernet is coming in vogue. We've got all kinds of coverage coming with 10 gigabit Ethernet. It's got onboard dual 10 gig adapters. We set up a Linux workstation with it. It is amazing. You should totally check that out. We've actually got a few videos coming up on that. On the enterprise channel, you're also going to see a bunch more 10 gigabit hardware. Those are in the queue. Those should be out soon. On the Linux channel, we're getting ready to post a video on the Linux vernacular, like learning some of the terms, and the Ubuntu video is ready, so that'll probably launch this weekend. We've got a sort of our philosophy and why Linux already posted on the channel, and so that'll be really good. So we've got an enterprise channel and a Linux channel and a hardware channel, and they have content, and we should be getting to a point where there's going to be a regular cadence of content. I mean, it's not going to be a video every day, obviously, but a video a week, a video every other week, something like that, because those aren't really frequent releases. And you may see occasional, like, a synopsis of what we did this week on the main channel. So, go check that out. It might be worth your time.
All you guys have to do to subscribe to those channels is go to our main page, which is youtube.com/raise the world, actually. And then if you go to our, you just click on, our name, Tech Syndicate, anywhere you go. And then on the side here, you can see all of our channels. Just subscribe to the ones that you want to subscribe to. There's even a shenanigans channel that we haven't started using yet. That'll be for really terrible things that we probably shouldn't put on the main channel, but they're just stupidity of us, like, throwing people off buildings. I don't even know.
I think we ought to use the food channel to. We ought to show how to make a carbonated ice cream with a fire extinguisher. That would be cool.
Oh God, and no one can handle that
carbonated
kind
ice
of
cream is
stuff.
awesome. I don't know what you're talking about.
I've never even heard of carbonated ice cream. That's actually a thing.
It's an Alton Brown thing, yeah.
All right, guys, we will see you in the comments on the website. And of course, don't forget we have all our stuff. Click on all the stuff on the screen. Oh, there's nothing on the screen. It's live. All right, then. Bye.
See ya.